Let's chat about why at least 50% as a conservative metric in a lot of the journals that I've tagged into this post below are not chromosomal in nature and actually are determined by the terrain that the egg is growing in. And what a lot of the studies kind of came upon, to get to the point nice and quick so you can understand why this is so important before I go into detail, the terrain of the endometrial tissue that the egg's actually growing in once you've already gotten pregnant and the egg's fertilized by a sperm and it's looking to stick to the endometrial tissue. The environment that the egg's growing in the endometrial tissue while it's growing is just as important for the development of the baby and the embryo developing into a baby as it is the actual DNA and the chromosomes themselves. And the belief is that because there's chromosomal abnormalities or defects, a lot of the times when you do a biopsy after you have a miscarriage, and if you look into it, you can find plenty of evidence to show that there, in many of those cases, abnormalities of the chromosomes, but that didn't mean that they were there or predetermined, but actually became dysfunctional as a result of the environment that they were getting nutrients in this case in the endometrial tissue. So if you have endometriosis, if you have cystic development, pelvic inflammation, autoimmune conditions, low thyroid function, or a luteal defect where the progesterone doesn't get up to the level that it's meant to, and then the corpus luteum can't allow for the progesterone to grow over the 8 weeks towards the end of your first trimester, and then the placenta is made to take over the different hormonal demands of the growing baby. All of these are equal reasons, and at least 50% of the reasons that miscarriages happen in the first trimester. And it's a super big misconception that these are only genetic in nature and chromosomal in nature. So don't just think if there's a chromosomal issue that it just derives or stems from the chromosome. It could come from the environment and the terrain that the baby growing in actually happens. And so this is so important. This is within your power. If you fix the pelvic inflammation, if you fix the pelvic environment and the overall inflammatory and immune response within that area, it changes the actual connective tissue and everything that supplies the growing baby within that connective tissue and can reduce a tremendous amount of miscarriages. In this case, a lot of the research was showing that it was up to 50%.